Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely day. Some of you have been emailing me very frantically about an issue that is very similar to an issue I experienced about 5 years ago as a Mozilla Firefox user. Yes, I'm among that 0.0001% of the internet that still uses a Mozilla-based browser because I actually like it. Back in the day, I am a big fan of Mozilla as a browser, but more importantly, I am a loyal user. Back in 2001, I used Mozilla 1.0.1. I didn't start with Firefox. I didn't start with 0.6 Firebird. I started with Mozilla 1.0.1, back when the logo was that little red angry dinosaur looking thingamajig that they had, because it was an awesome browser. When everybody else was getting AIDS using Internet Explorer 5 and 6 on an unpatched Windows XP with no service pack to browse the internet, they got pop-ups. I didn't get pop-ups. I used Mozilla. I blocked that shit. They were getting third-party cookies that tracked them. I wasn't getting third-party cookies. I could block third-party cookies in the browser with a single click, and if I wanted, I could demand that the browser ask for my express consent before loading a cookie. And I could tell them, allow cookies from the site? Don't. Allow third-party? Don't. Best part was Mozilla had tabs, so I wouldn't have to deal with all these different windows in my taskbar. I had tab browsing before tab browsing was a thing. And above all, I had OG adblock. That's right, my friends. Mozilla 1.0.1 had OG adblock. What you would do is you would right-click the banner ad. You would click block all images from this server. And once you did that on enough annoying websites 5 or 10 times, I would visit the most obnoxious websites I could so I could block all the different ad servers, and I would not see ads anymore. Back in 2001. So I have a sense of loyalty to it, which is why it kind of bothered me 5 years ago when I noticed that my experience on YouTube was as horrible as it was as a creator. YouTube around then switched over from the classic YouTube Studio interface to this new bloated pile of garbage. And it was around the end of 2018 that they no longer allowed you to opt out and use the old interface that loaded fast and worked well, and demanded that you use the new interface that worked like garbage and loaded slowly. Back then, they decided that they were going to change the interface. And it loaded slower for other people, but it was loading way more slowly for me than it was for everybody else because I was a Firefox user, and you must be punished for being a Firefox user. This is the lesson that I've been learning for many years in life. Apparently, I'm just going to paraphrase this. The reason YouTube Studio is loading significantly slower in Mozilla Firefox compared to Chrome was due to YouTube's Polymer redesign. The redesign heavily relied on the deprecated Shadow DOM version 0 API, which was only implemented in Chrome. Imagine that. The API is only implemented in the browser that's owned by the company that owns the media platform that decided. As a result, page loads on YouTube were about 5 times slower in Firefox and Edge compared to Chrome. Imagine that. This specific reliance on a Chrome-only API was the primary technical factor behind the slower performance in other browsers like Firefox, and this is something that was reported on at the time by CNET. You found it on Slashdot, and a lot of people were aggravated at it, particularly people like me that were getting 18,000 comments a day during the time of that CBC News piece that came out that wanted to actually respond to all their users. They got me, because at that point, when I could no longer go back to the old interface, I'm so ashamed. I'm so ashamed. I actually started using Chrome because I wanted to be able to comment. I wanted to be able to engage with my audience. I liked actually commenting on most of my YouTube comments. I was a lot more active back then, and I couldn't do it in Firefox. It was just too slow. Loading the backend interface was painful for me. And this is aggravating. It looks like something similar to this has been happening recently. This is a really interesting post that showed up on Reddit. It says, whenever I open a YouTube video in a new tab, it's extremely slow to load. How do I fix this? And what he is seeing here is very similar to what I experience using Spectrum Internet on almost any website on the internet because I use Spectrum, which is it not actually loading properly. And when you scroll down, you will see, to clarify it more, it's simply this code in their Polymer script link. And it says over here, there is a timeout, there's a little function over here. This doesn't do anything other than make you wait 5 seconds. 5E3 is equal to 5,000 milliseconds, which is equal to 5 seconds. And you could search for it easily over here. And when you go to that page, you can copy and paste this little piece of code over here, and you can find it. You just do this, a little Control-C, a little Control-V. That's how I got through all my English classes in high school. You will see that this shows up. But further, not only does this show up when I use a Chrome-based browser, it also shows up when I use Mozilla. So I loaded up Brave browser here, which is based on Chrome, and I get that. I load up Mozilla in a private window, and I get that. And just for fun, I'm going to use good old stock Google Chrome with an incognito window and see if I get the same thing. All right, so we're going to go back over to my screen capture here. And as you can see, this code is actually also present in Chrome. So the idea here, at least the thing that people seem to be complaining about, is that this is something that is only happening to users of Firefox. They're saying over here, why does this happen in Firefox? And there is even an Android Authority article. YouTube is reportedly slowing down videos for Firefox users. Some users are experiencing a 5-second delay when loading YouTube videos in Firefox, but not in Chrome. So again, here, this is Brave browser. Brave browser has the shields enabled, which blocks ads and all sorts of other stuff. So the theory there originally was, okay, maybe it's because you're using an ad blocker. Mozilla over here, this could be, well, maybe it's because you're using an ad blocker. So right here, I'm going to turn off uBlock as an extension in an incognito window. And as you can see, that code still shows up. More importantly, this is stock Chrome. So when we go to the settings in stock Chrome over here, if I go to the extensions on my browser, you'll notice that I do not have extensions as a guest user, and it's still showing me this in Chrome. So I kind of wonder, this theory that what they're doing is only to Firefox users seems like it could use a little bit of work. Further, if you take a look, when I actually do go to YouTube to view pages over here, it's... yeah, I mean, again, you know, it's not the fastest experience in the world. I am using Spectrum Internet. But if I load a video as me, I'm just going to go load Mr. Beast. He's a small, struggling creator that could use every view he can get without ad block turned on. You could see the video loads, and I get an ad instantly. And if I were to try to load that exact same video in a private window in Firefox, I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to YouTube that they're only doing this to people with ad block, not just people that are using Mozilla. We're going to take a look over here. This is with adblock turned on. Again, there was a little bit of slowness in the loading there, but that's more attributed to Spectrum Internet being garbage than YouTube itself. And I click on this YouTube link. It loads and, okay, my ad blocker is off. So the ad loaded instantly. And now I'm just going to try turning the ad blocker on, and we are going to load this again and see what happens. So I'm just going to go to this video. I click. And again, a little bit of lag over there, but that's essentially what I expect when I'm dealing with Spectrum Internet. For the most part, it doesn't seem like it is adding any sort of lag over there. So in this video, again, now I know that there's A/B testing going on, and I know that there's probably different users with different IP addresses and different regions and all different types of stuff that are getting different stuff fed to them. Maybe this is code that I'm seeing when I visit this particular page. I only see it when I visit this particular page, but this code may show up for some people on the actual page when they are viewing a video, and for other people when they are not. This is very likely something that could be happening. So, if I view the page source of the video that I'm watching right now, it does not have any code in it that is saying, limit it. Like if I put this over here, I don't actually see that in the page at all. So it's one of these things where it's very possible that they're giving different outcomes to different people. So I can't say what they're actually doing because, again, for me, I'm not having that problem with any browser. Adblock on, adblock off. Incognito, normal. Brave, Chrome, Firefox. It all works the same to me. It's just janky-ass Spectrum Internet that I pay way too much money for. But what I did want to comment on were some of the people who were saying, like, this is horrible, they should get the book thrown at them for this, that, and the other. There are different scenarios under which I believe that YouTube should have the book thrown at them. Now, there are 3 scenarios of what could be going on here, and I want to talk about the ones that I think they should get in trouble for, which they should not, and why the scenario that they should get in trouble for is likely not the one that they actually did, because they're not that stupid. Behind door number 1, this is an honest bug. While they were implementing things, it was a mea culpa, and they left something in there that they shouldn't have. My bad, bro. No big deal. Behind door number 2, in the middle of an antitrust case where they're getting in trouble with the government, while their lawyers are going, oh my God, I can't believe you just said out loud on the stand that we give damn near 30% of our ad revenue that's created through Safari to Apple in exchange for them making Google the default search engine on all the devices. In the middle of this trial, where they are just getting put through a cheese grater, they decided to put code in their website, clear as day, not like the 2018 thing where they decided to use a deprecated API for their new interface that only Chrome supported, but some shit that's genuinely nefarious, that actually looks to see, are you using Firefox? Make our site suck. That just so happens to be the leading monopoly video site on the entire internet. Should they get the book thrown at them if they did that? Absolutely. Is that what they did? Probably not, because that would be very, very stupid. And even they're not dumb enough to do that in the middle of an antitrust case where they are front and center and the FTC and many others are gunning for them. Behind door number 3, they were looking to screw with people who are using an ad blocker. And maybe they implemented that code in a manner that did not screw with people using ad blockers in Chrome or Brave, but did screw with people who are using ad blockers in Firefox because of the stupid way that they wrote the code. If they're looking to screw with people who are using adblock, and they're not, to be clear, they are not doing what Sony did in 2004 with rootkits on audio CDs, but they simply see that you are not loading the advertisement and you are not a premium user, so they're deciding to make the website suck for you in a manner that is not invasive to your computer. They're just going to make the website load slow as shit for you. There's no problem with that. Something, I know, a lot of people are going to downvote it. They're going to leave a mad comment at this point. They're going to unsubscribe and be mad. One of the things that I mentioned in the last video that I did, remember the video that got deleted? Remember that video? Remember what I mentioned in that video? Many companies treat you as the product. We don't want you to be treated as the product at either the company that I work for or the company that I own. I want my customers to be customers. In order to not be the product, in order to not be something that's milked for your data, for your information, for your privacy, for your dignity, you need to be a customer. And being a customer requires that you pay. If you don't want to watch ads and you don't want to pay, you are not a customer. And if you are not a customer, they don't really have an obligation to provide you with a good service. Dare I say it, they don't even care if they're providing you with service at all. We have entered this weird bizarro world with rock bottom zero interest rates for close to 13 years to where people are so out of their mind. Again, we have companies that don't care about net profit. They don't measure net profit. They don't even measure revenue. They measure users and growth. We have people that actually believe that using a service is payment for that service. Everybody in my audience somehow turned into a record label executive. I remember working in the music industry. It's one of the most scummy industries on planet Earth, where people would say, "You're playing at my bar. I'm not going to pay you. I'm not even going to give you free beer or drinks or help you unpack your equipment to play in my venue as I advertise to my customers that they should come here because cool music's here. You're playing for exposure because an A&R executive from label XY, I just made this shit up, is showing up on Thursday night at 9 p.m. And if he's in the audience, he may pick your band up if he likes them. That's some really good exposure." People actually, for some reason, people actually type this stuff. They say that simply having the exposure to me, even if I'm utilizing your bandwidth, I'm utilizing your storage, I'm utilizing your service without paying you, that is payment for your service. I have paid for your service by using your service. To be clear, if you don't like ads, that's fine. If you use adblock, no problem. But the idea that you simply using a service is payment for it is insane. It's absolutely insane, especially for users that are not logging in, that are blocking cookies, that are using web browsers that like LibreWolf or Brave with shields on and everything else, that are blocking every single piece of tracking code on these websites. You're not paying. And if you're not paying for a service, you are not a customer, which means that you have no right to complain about that service. You have the right to block ads on your computer. You have the right to run an ad blocker on your computer, and you have the right to not pay any of these services. You also lose the right to complain if they put code into their service that makes it load like shit for you. Now, whether or not that's a good business practice, whether or not that's going to make me more likely to pay for your service, there's an argument there. Personally, I don't try to get people to pay for my services by pissing them off. I try to make people that patronize my business happy so that they patronize my business more. I try to not piss them off. I'm not saying it's a great business. I'm not saying it's a great way to earn customers, and I'm not saying it's a great way to not piss the internet off. But yeah, in terms of them doing something illegal there, in terms of them going too far, no. If they're doing that to people who are using an ad blocker, they're trying to shed people who are not customers of their service, who are not compensating them for the bandwidth and the storage that they consume. And they can do that. If they decide that we are only going to screw with people who use this web browser, while simultaneously that company that has the video site also owns this other competing browser, that's an issue. That's an issue. That's something that the antitrust system should beat them over the head for, rightfully so. If they decide that they are going to install or screw with your computer in the manner that Sony did in 2004, installing rootkits and shit like that because you use adblock, that's something they should be beaten over the head for. If they're noticing that you're using an ad blocker and they are timing out your service to make your ability to load their website crappier to try and get rid of you as a user, That's within their right. And if you don't like that, you can decide to become a customer of their service or leave it the fuck alone. Again, do I give a shit if you use adblock? I don't care. I use adblock myself. But simultaneously, the amount of people that I will read saying things like, I am paying for their service by using it. No, you're not. That is where you cross the line into fantasy. Or they have done something illegal by making this website load slowly because I have an ad blocker. No, they have not. If they run malicious code on your computer, by all means. If they are in an anti-competitive way, fucking with other web browsers, I hope they get destroyed. But they have the right to say, I want you out of here as a user because you don't pay me and it costs me money to operate my service. Which one of these is what they're doing? I'll be honest with you, I don't know. Because they're giving different things to different users. Every time I read comments on this, every time I read an email on this, the email reads differently. I got this in this web browser and not with that. I got this with this extension turned on, but not with that. I got this with no script turned on, but not when this no script is off. Everybody has sent me something different. So the best idea that I have is either A, this is a bug, or B, they're sending different shit out to different users. I can't tell you what it is. What I can tell you is for each one of these different scenarios, here's what I think, and here's what I think should happen. At the end of the day, again, I do not care if you use adblock, nor will I ever criticize you for using adblock because I use it myself. But don't fool yourself. Like, again, this whole idea that like I've paid for a service by utilizing the service, again, that's how you know that we live in a meme economy. That's how you know that like the 0% interest, the rock bottom interest rates, that the economy that allowed the WeWorks and the Adam Newmans of the world to get even 5% of the money that they did from investors has completely rotted our idea of reality to the point where people actually believe that being deprived of the ability to access a website in the manner they see fit when not paying for it means that something illegal has happened. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. That's it for today, and as always, I hope you learned something. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye now.